Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican. Today we are going to be talking about the Constitution of the Republic of Ireland. So there it is right there, the Constitution of Ireland. Now, they have a president and he's elected by direct vote of the people for a 7-year term. He or she needs to be 35-year-olds or more. I say he or she because they've had some Irish female presidents. Is nominated by, or he or she is nominated by 20 members of parliament, or by county councils, or by former presidents, or if you're already president, you can nominate yourself. The president appoints the Taoiseach. That's the prime minister and other ministers, appoints a lot of people, and calls parliament into session. He commands the defense forces. There's a commission of 3 upon incapacity or death, and this group of 3, which is the Chief Justice, the Chair of the House, and the Chair of the Senate, and they get to run things until they get a new president. But they're supposed to get have an election very soon if he dies, he or she. The president may refer bills to the Supreme Court before he or she signs them. And so that's actually a really good thing living in the United States in the 21st century. We have judicial review, but sometimes it moves really, really slow, and a lot of things happen in the meantime that on our way to final constitutional resolution. So if anyone has a question about the constitutionality, there are other ways, but the president is the main way of, if he thinks, is this constitutional? And so it really makes the president less of a partisan character. So, he can say, I don't know, I don't know if this is constitutional. I'm just going to send it up to the Supreme Court before I sign it. And the Supreme Court can say yes or no. And the president can also make recommendations to amend the Constitution. Parliament can create subordinate legislatures. I thought that was really interesting. It says that it can create subordinate legislatures, but, however, Parliament is the sole lawmaking. And then there's also some the lower house is, like the House of Representatives in the United States has is the power of the purse. So all revenue, everything to do with money has to come from the lower house. Parliament can call itself into session with a 2/3 approval for emergencies. I think that's really interesting. We're voting on that right now in Idaho, if we can have our legislature call itself into session during an emergency, and it has to have I forget what our majority is, but it's a majority. So both houses have a chairman who can only vote in case of ties. Now you have the Senate, the Senate. They're elected by universities, 5 vocational panels on proportional representation, and 11 are nominated by the Taoiseach and confirmed by the Dáil, which is the Dáil is the lower house. So that's really, that's some good indirect voting there. And so then I have this. This information below is what. I just copied and pasted that. But that's information you can find, and that's how they elect their Senate. I think that's an excellent way to indirectly elect a legislative body. And I think maybe the UK could take some notes on this and apply it to their House of Lords. Now, the Dáil. The Dáil, you have to be 21 and up. You represent no more than 30,000, but no less than 20,000. And it's elected by proportional representation. And of course, as I said earlier, they have the power of the purse. You have the government, which is the prime minister, the Taoiseach, and the government, you have 7 to 15 ministers. Everyone's appointed by the president. Then you have this deputy prime minister that it seems to be a very powerful position. You have the Council of State, so all those people there, and they advise and assist the president. So it's kind of like a privy council. The Comptroller and Auditor General. This is very interesting because they have these people who are appointed by the president, and they are supposed to go to the Dáil and tell them about what's going on with money in Ireland. So of course we have things like that in the United States. It's not in our Constitution. We had to make it by law. But if it's by law, then you can also get rid of it, or yeah. So they're only removed for misbehavior or incapacity. So I think that's really nice. The French Fifth Republic has something similar where they have a court that audits and helps the French Parliament look at money issues. So yeah, it's just provides some good oversight on the government. And yes, they have to report to the Dáil, but they're appointed by the president. So there's some good separation of powers and checks and balances there. The Supreme Court, appointed by the president. They have to retire at 70. There's 9 members, and then there's more like ex officio members, and that but they sit in groups of 5 or 7. So they're not all there all at once. And rights. Of course, they got all the same rights that are prevalent in liberal democracies, but they have some very Republican rights here, like association and unions. Unions in the Constitution. That's a really good thing. It says, oh, and then they also have this clause on family. It says the state recognizes the family as the natural, primary, and fundamental unit group of society. So kind of an Aristotelian outlook on the basic unit of society. And then this: mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labor to the neglect of their duties in the home. So that's interesting. I mean, they're going, it says right off the bat that mothers are not going to be wanting. And then minimum education is required. So education is a very Republican thing. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this Republican analysis of the Irish Constitution. And please watch my other videos on Irish Republicanism. And please like, subscribe, and comment. If I got anything wrong, please correct me. And until next time, long live the Republic.